Good morning, teachers and students. We're going to go over our benchmark procedures for quarter one. We take three benchmarks for each quarter, and we're going to go over our benchmark procedures for the first quarter. Of course, you know our goals for this year. Teachers and students want a 5% increase in student achievement across all grade level core academic areas. And our reality is 22% of our eighth grade students are meeting and exceeding expectations according to the 2018 Math State Assessment. And our goal this year is 27% of our eighth grade students will meet and exceed expectations on the 2019 SC Ready Math State Assessment. We want to decrease our disciplinary referrals by 50%. And of course, our third goal is we want to create a collaborative instructional school culture that feels like family. So why benchmarks? Why do we take benchmarks? Well, students, it shows you and your teacher standards master for the first quarter. It gives us valid data to plan effective lessons. It's a great indicator on predicting performance on the state test, the SC Ready test, because there's similar questions from the benchmark on the state assessment. Benchmark data also tracks your performance to place you in classes such as Read 180, Math Intervention, and First Period Enrichment. And of course, if you have good benchmark scores, students, you can work your way in or out of these intervention classes. If your benchmark scores aren't very good, you may be placed in Read 180, Math Intervention, or First Period Enrichment, because this is telling us that you still haven't mastered grade level standards for the first quarter. All students take four benchmarks, ELA, Math, Science, and Social Studies, roughly 20 to 25 questions on each benchmark assessment. And the window starts from October 18th through November 2nd, and this Thursday and Friday is the ELA first quarter benchmark. Students will write their benchmark scores on the data reflection sheet on page 11 in the agenda when the benchmark is complete. Benchmark testing tips. Do your personal best, students. Take your time. Don't be intimidated by long reading passages and word problems. Make sure you chunk and read with a purpose, as your ELA teachers have taught you. Use close reading strategies. You can highlight, use a graphic organizer, definitely use scrap paper, but basically read the passages. Some of the passages are long, but please read the entire passage because the questions are easy if you read the text. Work out problems and use scrap paper for math. Math teachers will provide scrap paper for your benchmark assessments. ELA benchmark, there will be hard copies provided for the reading passages, so you don't have to scroll up and down on the computer. We will provide hard copies for your reading passages for the first quarter benchmark. And benchmark tests are not timed. So it should take about 60 minutes for you to complete, and just make sure, teachers, that students are finished with the benchmark after day 2. And if they're not, please send students to the library after each class, because students have to finish the benchmark after that second day. Benchmark procedures. Students will be given assigned seats in rows, dividers for tables to make sure that we have a good testing environment going on. Teachers, please create an effective testing environment with no distractions. So maybe you can put some dividers if you have tables, or make sure students are in assigned seats in rows if you have desks. All electronic devices will be collected by the teacher. This is returned at the end of class. All phones, anything electronic, the teachers will collect at the beginning of class, just like we do on state testing. And then students, you'll be getting your devices and your earbuds at the end of the class period after the benchmark. We want you to be focused, and we want a business approach to this, that you need to do your personal best on these benchmarks. So all electronic devices will be collected by the teacher and returned to the student at the end of class. Book bags will be placed at the front of the room and cannot be accessed during the test. And of course, no talking during the benchmark test. You can get on Edmentum. You can read your novel when finished, just like after state testing. Administrator will be called if testing environment is disrupted, and consequences will be given. So teachers, please make sure that you have an effective testing environment with no distractions going on during the benchmark. Benchmark directions. The script, teachers will read this script before each benchmark test. Today, you'll be taking the Aiken County Benchmark Assessment. It is important that you do your best in answering the test questions. This is a secure test. During this test, you may not have any electronic or other device with you that can be used for communication, timing, imaging, or accessing the internet. These devices include, but are not limited to, tablets, not approved for the test, smartphones, cell phones, MP3 players, or basically any electronic or photographic device. Again, teachers continue reading the script. You may not communicate with their students during the test, and you may not use any device to copy, save, or send electronically. The teacher can answer any questions about the test directions, but the teacher cannot discuss any test questions or answers with you. And again, just read each question carefully, then answer the question. Be sure to answer every question, students, and then the teachers will now administer the benchmark test. So we're basically mimicking students what you're going to be seeing come May at the end of the year. So we want to practice with anything. We want to get better at state testing, and we have to practice. And benchmarks is a great way to practice on your performance for state testing. Students' important dates coming up. This week is Spirit Week. We have a pep rally scheduled tomorrow on Wednesday, our rival game against Lavelle. Hope to see everyone there. Again, we got the ELA benchmark on the 18th and 19th. The following week, we have Parent Pride Week. We do have parent-teacher conferences, students, from 11:30 to 6:30. Students, please schedule a conference time with your teacher if you are failing or if you failed the first 9 weeks of a subject. So please have your parents reach out to teachers and schedule a conference that day, because teachers are available all day from 11:30 to 6:30 for parent-teacher conferences. The following Tuesday, we have Muffins for Moms. And so we have the social studies benchmark test as well that day. We have the PSAT on Wednesday, the 24th, with early release. And then we have Donuts for Dads, end of the 9 weeks, and the grades are stored as well on that day. On Thursday, the 25th, continuing with our Parent Pride Week from the 22nd through the 26th, we have Grits for Grandparents. And then we have the 6th grade math benchmark assessment. The 26th, that Friday, is a parent luncheon. We also have our Halloween dance from 6 to 8 o'clock, along with a costume contest. The 29th is our science benchmark test. On the 30th, it's a 7th, 8th grade benchmark test. Report cards will be given out during 7th period on the 30th. We got Halloween on the 31st, along with benchmark makeups. And then our first quarter awards assembly is 9 o'clock in the gym. And of course, we'll have an honor roll movie at 1 o'clock, recognizing all alphas and all betas, all students that had all straight A's the first quarter, and all students that made all A's and B's the first quarter. So a lot of important things going on the rest of October. It's a busy month. Again, we have those benchmark assessments coming up. Students, please take them seriously. Please do your personal best, because it shows teachers and you strengths and weaknesses on what standards you have mastered for the first quarter. Thank you for your time, teachers and students. Let's have a great week, and good luck on your benchmark assessments.